Here we go. So, and I'm recording, right? Yes. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm just going to show you really fast the Persian 17 North Indian scales implementation in Wilsonic MTS-ESP. I'm not actually going to play so much in those because I want to get to recurrence relations, because I'm actually making this more powerful than the iOS app. So it's capable of implementing more of things you want to do, including Irv's paper. So I'll just jump to this. So this is a paper Irv made. This is one of the first ones he laid on me. I think he had laid it on you guys before I actually met him. But this was a 17 note scale, and then there's subsets of it that approximate Indian raga scales. And to be honest, I don't know why he called it 17 Persian version. So if anyone knows, that'd be great if you can give that extra historical context.
I know he always said that the Indian scales were derivative of the 13th century Persian. So maybe he's just sort of hailing back to what he feels was the origin of those ratios. Maybe.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the 17 note scale is just a Pythagorean scale with a certain mode picked, right? Right. It's just
the Persian 17?
Yeah, it's just generators. The generator's 3, right?
Is that the case, John? And what, because wasn't it a 3 gap scale?
There might be a 5 in there. There's a 5 in there.
I mean, 3 gap, I mean, and 3 size intervals.
I really don't know. I've never seen this chart before.
Well, you have. Oh, okay.
Oh, this chart. Okay. So here's the thing.
But I agree. It's
also first time for me. I'm trying to figure it out.
An approximation.
Okay. Well, here's the beautiful thing about microtonality. I don't know what it is, but when I listen to this, it is amazing. It's so beautiful. I've made tons of music with it.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, right. Well spoken.
So this is the implementation of it. So I'm just playing a really simple synthesizer sound, but I have other sounds if you want to hear them. But this is a reference tone. And then, as I cruise through these, can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
And then notice I've turned on my little proportional triad detector and sub-contrary triad detector. So
can you play that again?
Oh. This is what he called Lalit 2. But like here, I'll play the triad. So that's a proportional triad.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this, that's the second triad. And then this is the sub-contrary triad. Oops, sorry. There you go. That's a sub-contrary triad. Or minor. And then as you cruise through these, like this scale doesn't have any proportional or sub-contrary, neither does this one, neither does that one. But then boom, for this one, it has multiples. So as you would expect, right? And then that's the sub-contrary, or one of them. And I think this, and then this, and then this. That's another sub-contrary, etc. So this is every single one of those. And look how fast this is. Watch what happens.
You're going through all the triads?
Yeah, I'm going through all these scales now. I know Zoom. I don't know.
If minor ones sounded beautifully.
Aren't they amazing? Yeah, they're called sub-contrary triads, and I have a slide on those as well.
And they're all proportional?
There's proportional and sub-contrary, and actually.
How are you defining sub-contrary?
I'm going to get to that in a bit.
Okay.
Jumping ahead a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
This is 2 times A times B over A plus B. So just showing. Oops. Is there a? That's the formula for. So that would be the middle note. If you have an A, that's a root, and a B that's functionally like a fifth. Doesn't matter if it's a fifth. The note in between them, that's a sub-contrary triad would be 2 times A times B all over the quantity A plus B. And if you want a proportional triad, then that would be A plus B over 2. And I actually did a demo on this way back, and I linked to it here. So back in August, I did a demo of this, and I go into how these are all defined and stuff. I can the slides are over here if you really do want to go back to them. Praveen had some really interesting observations about these too, by the way. Is this coming back to you, John? You said you don't remember Harrisonian.
No, I don't.
So some triplets of proportional triad, that's it's just the average of the two in the frequency space, but the sum and difference tones are derived from that. That's what's so cool about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the arithmetic mean or the.
So the arithmetic mean is the proportional triad, that's the major triad, and the harmonic mean is the subcontrary triad, that's the minor triad. So this is the best representation right here, actually.
Yeah. There's actually more means that the Greeks recognize, but I'm not sure if they make any sense acoustically.
There's also geometric mean, and Praveen, you had a cool.
Well, geometric, a whole series of other means that are sort of like the subcontrary mean. I've got a page of them in my book, but I don't know. I've never really tried to construct anything with them.
Yeah, the Pythagorean means are arithmetic, geometric, and harmonic, and yes, there are many others.
Yeah.
I actually have the code to do geometric. I just turned it off because it's so crowded on the keyboard. And Craig said Irv wasn't really crazy about geometric.
Well, that's basically equal temperament. Temperament if you do the geometric.
So what you're seeing in my app is on the keyboard down here. Any tuning I pull up, anything, it doesn't even matter if it's that, it could be this. If there is a proportional triad, you see here, I found one interactively, just found one. So this hexany, which is deep inside an icosany, has this proportional triad and these two subcontrary triads. Wow. I'm just randomly cruising through stuff here.
You've done some serious digging here.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
You're like a gold miner.
Well, that's why, I think that's something
like a mile deep,
That's something that I have to offer that's really different, is that because we're searching for emotional value, if we like the way it sounds, then it's good. Doesn't matter what the math is, doesn't matter what the theory is. Then if you have a tool to interactively explore a massive space and find things you like, that's incredibly valuable, right? That's math, and that's what's happening here. I'm just I didn't plan this. This isn't part of the demo.
But you kind of built a transit system.
Exactly. Like here I'm going. Oh wait, here's the icosany. Look at all these triads. Oops. Wow.
Yeah.
All those are proportional, and so
all of these are the green.
That's incredible, because sometimes you can just get lost in the amount of what's in there, and if you can select and find all those little beautiful sounds and triads, that's super valuable for music making. Yeah.
And this is interactively going along. Think of it as like a special night vision goggles that pick out triads. So no matter what scale
like
you're exploring,
a filter.
That's really useful.
Yes, like a filter.
Once you tweak the knob, you're hearing all those different,
Yeah. But I think the important thing for people to realize is, the recurrence sequences are sort of the bridge between JI and MOS, right?
Yeah, so I'm straying far away because now I'm all in icosany.
They're neither. But where you are is neither, right?
Right. Well, let's go to
how do you seed it.
Let's go to moments of symmetry. So let's do 0.415. So this is 0.415. This is a single generator, right? So this is a fourth, and that number I just typed in is a subcontrary triad.
Wow.
If you choose a 12-tone scale, if you choose a 3-tone scale, you don't see it. But if you choose a 17-note scale, then there's actually another one. There's two now. And then if you choose a 29-note scale, boom, all of a sudden here's all these proportional triads. So that's freaking amazing. That could give you a good reason to go deeper or not, right?
Yeah. Right.
And that was just a random.
You'd go like 6 levels, right? into the scale tree?
In this case, I did. Let me
Yeah.
say 2, 3, 8, 1, 8, 6. I love this one. This is my favorite. So with the 4-note scale of I'm sorry, there's a bug where I'm not printing out the generator. The generator is 0.2, 2, 3, 186, right?
Hmm.
So it sounds like this. And then if you do go 5, and look at this, with 4 notes, you have a, oops, sorry, where's my, come here, octave, where are you? Here we go. So that's a proportional triad. Doesn't sound very majory, but technically it is a proportional triad. And what's cool is chromatically down 1 step, that's a subcontrary. So you can just go back and forth.
Yeah, there's that
Right.
shift.
Isn't that cool? And then if you do 5, now you have an extra subcontrary. And so now I think this was this. Right there. So that's the proportional. And if I go this, that's one of the subcontraries. If I go up a chromatic step on the linear keyword, that's another subcontrary. And then as you go up, drill in deeper levels, look, there you go. Now you have 3 proportional triads, 1, 2, 3, 4 subcontrary triads, and you can keep going. So this could give you a reason to be like, oh, I should deal with 21 notes in octave because I'm going to get more triads.
21 almost looks equal, not quite.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. See, that's amazing.
Does it converge there? In other words, if you went down 1 more level, which you don't have, would it stop there?
That's a good question. I can't do that in the app, but I could do it offline.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your really important point. So recurrent sequences are like the bridge. Well, when you look at an MOS, what's happened is pretend that it doesn't matter what the seeds are. The series has already converged. So you're choosing a generator. There are no seeds, and you just take that out, and that's what we've been exploring. And that's incredibly musically useful.
Yeah.
But what for recurrence relations, what happens is you get to choose the initial conditions before the sequence converges. I have some cool slides. I have cool.
So it makes the harmonic resources of MOS much more accessible.
Right, because you get to.
You don't just stumble on them.
Yeah, so we're just diving into recurrence relations now. So just pulling back a second, what is a recurrence relation? It's a very general term. It's a general term for any kind of formula that expresses a sequence in terms of the terms that came before it. So I could say the 3rd term of the sequence depends on the previous 2, or the 9th term depends on the 8th term plus the 1st term, and not those middle ones. So, and there's all kinds of like formulas that depend on that, not just what we're talking about here for music. So the factorial function itself is defined like that, right? Like n factorial is defined as n times n minus 1 factorial. And then anytime you have a recurrence relation, you have to have a set of initial conditions. You have to have this is the beginning, and I'm going to compute from up here. So it's like a house of cards, and this is the foundation. So here, this is the foundation.
But are they always additive? X plus Y equals Z?
They're all very different kinds of formulas. So in this case, for the factorial,
even if it's 9 back, even if it's n1 plus n plus, you know what I mean, equals n9 or whatever, doesn't matter exactly how many you have to go back along the.
It does. So, well, okay.
It still would be additive, right?
For recurrent relations like this is the number n depends on the number n minus 1 and the number n minus 2. You have to have at least those previous 2 components, like n minus 1 and n minus 2. You have to define those, or else this formula doesn't make sense. It's undefined. So if you do a formula like h n minus 1 and h n minus 9, then you need 9 seeds. You have to do n minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But
7, 8,
your open set is always the diagonals of Pascal, right?
Not okay. Almost yes in some cases, but there's even more to it. TLDR is yes, there's a bunch like that, and I have a slide on that. And then the other one I wanted to call out, because we just looked at it, was binomial coefficients, which is the Pascal's triangle. Pascal's triangle is a recurrence relation. the nth and kth entry is dependent on the n minus one and k minus one plus n minus one k entry. So that's an example of an additive sequence, right? That whole structure is built. You give it a starting condition, 1, and then you build out the whole structure. And what's amazing about Pascal's triangle is it contains a whole bunch of additive sequences inside it, which is freaking crazy. Anyways, you can meditate on this stuff all day long. It's insane.
It's a yantra.
Yeah, it is. You can, I swear, I think meditation is a good word for it too.
Yeah.
All right. So like you called out, was a famous paper by Irv Mount Maru. And so the call out I want to make here is this is an equals an minus 2 plus an minus 1. And I'm going to call this a primary recurrence relation as opposed to a secondary one. And the reason why I say that is because the coefficient in front of each of these terms is 1. And so that is in Pascal's triangle, excuse me. And if you look at the sum of these diagonals, you do see the Fibonacci sequence, the classic sequence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, blah, 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 blah.
And that's just that particular angle.
That's just that particular angle. If you chose another angle like an equals an minus 3 plus an minus 1, that's a whole nother one. And we'll get to that too. But Pascal's triangle contains so many additive or recurrence sequences. It's freaking crazy. It's just an endless, infinite gold mine. And it contains the icosany and the hexany and the decany and all those other cool combination product sets, which I have on this slide. So again, this is the recurrence relation that leads to these kinds of geometries. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to go here. So these, John, Stephen, and others may these papers might look familiar to you, right? So these are things that Irv was working on. I first met Irv in 1995. This paper is 1998. So this is something he was working on. He laid on all of us after I met him. So it was sort of like he was definitely in the zone back then. Like he was at, I don't know if you guys would consider him at the height of his powers, but
I think he was.
Yeah, don't you think? Because I
do. Around the time you met him,
we could talk
10 years maybe.
Oh my God, we could talk for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Just I would just be like, I gotta go. I gotta eat dinner. I gotta run, bro. But anyways, so I think this one slide says it all. This is the canonical Fibonacci sequence everyone knows and loves, and Irv has a whole bunch of musical angles going on in this paper, and I have a bunch of slides that kind of detail each one. So each angle. So the first thing I want to point out is, like we said, hn equals hn minus 1, hn minus 2. And this is showing you how this really works. We're not just talking through it, we're showing you. So if this is the third number in the sequence, hn, n equals 3, well, what's n minus 2? That n minus 3, I'm sorry. What's n minus 1? It's 2. It's the second number in the sequence. What's n minus 2? 3 minus 2, 1, 1. So if you seed it with 1 and 1, you get 2. And then from then on, if you slide that up, what's 1 plus 2? It's 3. What's 2 plus 3? It's 5. What's 3 plus 5? It's 8. What's 5 plus 8? It's 13, and so on and so forth. And he draws it out. But here's what's really cool. He connects this idea, this very abstract idea that's used in all kinds of art and design and engineering, to music. And he shows you like what a Fibonacci triplet is. Why is this important? He shows you that you can, if you have A plus B, if you have a number A, let's say that's a root, like a tonic, you have A plus B, that's, let's say, I'm just going to say it's a fifth. Could be anything. What's in between it? That's B. He's choosing a generator to maximize sum and difference tones. So sum and difference tones are a really important psychoacoustic property. They reinforce each other. I like to think of it as that picture of a vase, where is it two faces looking at each other, or is it a vase? It's like positive and negative space, right? Like it's just sort of like which way did you interpret it? It's the same data, but you can interpret it as negative space or positive space. It's kind of how I like to think of sum and difference tones. And so what he's doing is he's taking this sequence and optimizing for a sum and difference tone here. So what's A plus B minus B? It's B. You know, so
that's so cool. I mean, that's true for all of them, right?
right, it is. And
so, I mean, what's cool is the difference tones are in the family.
Yeah.
They
right,
stay in the family.
right. And almost all of these papers that he has, there's a million of them. I didn't put them all in here, but eventually I will. He's doing that same thing, but just for different degrees of the scale. Maybe he chose degree 1 and degree 7, and this middle third is the A plus B. You know what I mean? In this case, it's the canonical case, right? Like, so it's all variations from here. And then notice, this is the other important point to make. When you carry the sequence out, we didn't even carry it out 20 terms, but if you divide 2,584 by 1,597, you get 1.618033. I mean, look how close this approximates the actual real. I mean, this is a transcendental number. So you don't even have to go out that far, and it already converges and approximates this number like super well. So this is the line that we had to play with. In the very beginning, it does not converge. It's whatever numbers we want to put in it.
Right.
And then as you get further and further out, it converges to where it doesn't really matter what those seeds were. And that's an important point, and I have a slide on that as well. That's a super important. So this is your chance to make your stamp, like your mark. You have creative agency here. So you can say, well, I'm going to seed it with really cool harmonics that I like, that I need for my music. And so this is where you get to do whatever you want. Okay, so the implementation for Wilsonic, I'm just connecting the dots between the paper and what the software is doing. The actual recurrence relation is here. It's in a drop-down menu, and I'll go back to that real quick. So that's this guy here. So these are the ones I support, and these are automatable in the DAW. So
wow.
If you
Good.
go to the DAW,
Wonderful.
they're here. And then the seeds. So this row is the seeds. So how does that work? Well, as I go through these, and look how fast this is. This is every permutation of HN minus blah, blah, blah. Look how fast that is. That's all real time. It's all real time, dude.
Is that because you pre-compiled?
No, that's actually computing in real time.
It's actually computing it. Wow.
Yeah. It's not that hard to compute. And
it's
notice
not reactor.
Yeah, notice that it's compute. And if you look at the keyboard down here, it's computing all the triads in real time. So as I go to this one, this is HN minus 1, HN minus 3. And then I go this one. And notice it's already found those triads.
How those keys are mapped on a standard keyboard? I hear you are playing on some sort of by default.
It's just a linear keyboard. I'm not doing any awesome
Those
stuff.
are just MIDI note numbers down below there.
Yeah. Sorry, that's something I don't spend enough time on. I don't spend enough time playing with keyboard mappings. There's a lot of folks I know who really care about that. They have a lot of variety of different keyboards, physical keyboards or virtual ones.
Maybe implement keyboard tuning files.
Yes.
I mean
KBG.
KBM. Yeah.
KBM.
Yeah, I need to put more thought into that. There's nothing in Wilsonic that's stopping you from doing that. It's just that's an extra step. But Wilsonic could really help there, right? It could say, hey, I picked this tuning. I suggest this keyboard file.
And here's the layout. Yeah.
I suggest this. Or so going back to here, and then that row, this is the seeds, and we're going to drill into that in a second. And here's the sequence. The sequence is printed out here, and I'm just showing the Irv sequence here is faithfully reproduced here. And the other thing I'm kind of glossing over is what I do is I create a raw array of the sequence, right? I just compute the raw sequence. But what I'm doing here on the final scale is you get to say how many terms you want. Do you want a 7-note scale, a 5-note scale, a 12-note scale? What do you want? And you also get to say like how offset is it, right? So you could offset from the original seeds towards when the sequence converged or not, right? So that's what the offset is. And so here to show that I matched his paper, I put terms equals 15, but that's not what I usually do. I usually do some kind of smaller number like 7 or something, something fun.
Marcus, sorry for interrupting, but I had a thought that maybe like an idea to integrate mobile devices with the standard application in a sense that they can be as a keyboard controlling the scale, the interface. Yeah, just like on your Wilsonic app, I love the interaction that you can click on those writings, you know, all those geometrical shapes and play the scale. So why not implement something like that where you can connect your phone or tablet to the program and and just basically have a controller out of your mobile device.
That's a great. That's an amazing idea. I love touchscreens. Touchscreens are amazing. That's the downside,
especially for Wilson.
Yeah.
Because the geometry is the interface.
Right. Like for example,
it is really the ideal interface.
Like the coprime grid. Like it doesn't make sense to do it.
It doesn't make any sense linear
on the desktop. It doesn't make sense. Like I need a touchscreen interface. So Vitold, I just need to figure out how to do that. Like, is there already an established like protocol for that? Like, is there already
I know
audio
that
plugins?
there's some via Bluetooth or network for various MIDI controlling. I can link you. I can send you some names of applications that can be connected, for example, to Ableton to control certain parameters or map like the faders or something. I'm sure that you can figure something out of these. Because they also support like drum pads, keyboard, so there should be no problem.
This is a great idea, and I think this would be a better experience if I have some kind of touchscreen controller that's optional for sure.
Yeah.
Then you get the best of all worlds, right? You get all the parameters automatable in the DAW. You get the touchscreen. Like that would be amazing. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put more thought into that.
Okay.
All right. So let's keep going. So this is the row with the seeds, and I just want to show you as I'm changing the initial conditions of the sequence, and it's updating in real time. And I can do this really fast too, by the way.
Jeez.
It's almost spinning like like a motion picture.
In fact, I already checked this out. I interactively found where'd my numbers go? Oh, shit. Oh man, I lost my sticky pad. I had ones, it was like 46 and like 31 or something. And I was finding subcontrary triads as well. Like look, I'm just interactively fucking around, and I have with the seeds 46 and 40, I found these proportional triads in the subcontrary triad in this recurrence relation. So and that's not in the original series with the seeds 1 1. You know what I mean? So many people go, Fibonacci sequence is only one. It's this and that's it. And it's like, no, there's infinite because you can reseed it. And in these early stages of the sequence before it converges, you anything can happen that doesn't show up in the 1 1. So I just want to show that. Notice I haven't even got to this row. These are the coefficients. We're not going to get to that tonight, unfortunately, but that's there too. All right, so I'm winding down. So I already showed you that when you carry the sequence out, the HN minus 2 or HN minus 1 converges to the interval. Right? That's what I was showing you here. 2,584 over the thing before it, 1,587, converges to 1,618. And then the other thing I want to show you here is here in the same paper that Irv did, he reseeded it, right? So instead of 1 1, he reseeds it with 1 and a 3, and these numbers are totally different.
Like the silver, is that the silver mean, John?
I don't even know if you would call it that. I don't think
there is such a thing.
Yeah, there is such a thing as a silver mean, and I'm trying to. I can't remember the formula for it right now.
Yeah,
but if I reseed it,
ratio, I think it's a different thing.
If I reseed it with 3 and 1 instead of 1 and 1, now I have completely different. Completely different tones.
It's fucking crazy.
Because I'm only going out to 7 terms. Now, if I go out a bunch of terms, what happens, right? Eventually, I get a generator.
Totally fills space.
Silverman is Metaslendro from Perveen.
It's Metaslendro.
from Parveen. He says that, but I don't know personally.
Mhm.
All right. All right.
Hmm.
So yeah, anyways, proving the point. And then, by the way, that
Lucas
receding.
series.
Yes, exactly. This is the Lucas series. So that receding, if you take 5778 and divide by 3571, it also is, it's almost exactly the same within the limits of precision of this computer, the generator. So no matter how you recede it, which is your creative, your personal way, the series will converge if you let it go out far enough.
What happens if you use irrational numbers? I mean, they're not exactly in Pascal, but
there is no reason you can't do that. The only reason I didn't do that was it makes it harder to automate. If I use it, and also I welcome someone challenging me here. Because of octave equivalence, I felt like it didn't matter if I use a floating point number or not. Right? Like if I do, oops, 1024, that's the same as 1, 2, 4, 8, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if that makes as much sense in the additive sequence, but that's certainly true. Just if you buy into the scheme of octave reducing, 1024 is equal to 1. So what's 1025? Well, that's a number really close to 1, but not quite there.
Right.
So that's why I didn't support floating point numbers, because I felt like it was cleaner and you could still get what you want. But I'm open to challenges there. I'm totally cool with that. Okay. Okay, almost done. A couple more things here. And we already talked about this. Think of MOS as a recurrence relation that converged so long ago the seeds have been lost. Like this is a analogy that, you know, to Irv's farming, right? Like you plant a seed, like maybe it's a kernel like corn, but then the plant grows and it nothing.
You
like
forget about the seed.
You forget about the seed. So these scales here, you care about the seeds, and you're artfully like flirting that line between I still got some seed, but the plant's growing. You know, that's what's really cool about it. And then I put
it's sort of gain of function. Huh?
Yeah, but it's such a cool creative thing to do.
It is.
I don't know. It's a really cool reconciliation of math and you know, just emotion. I love it. And we already talked about
jumping to the MOS. Just a quick question: do you have it implemented that you could use something other than 2-1? 2/1.
Okay. I do, but I haven't let the UI let you do that. But under the hood, there's absolutely no reason.
Ready.
There's absolutely no reason to just stick to 2-1. There's the most compelling reason is the first two numbers of the harmonic series are 1 and 2. That's a very powerful, compelling reason. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I'm culturally conditioned. I can hear.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me, the octave. But you can abandon it. You don't have to do that. There's just also not as much material out there. Like Irv didn't explore that space that much. He allowed for it. He too did not limit himself to the octave, but he doesn't have a ton of stuff on non-octave.
No.
He has a couple, but not a lot. So I'm kind of just prioritizing, you know, existing papers that he did, and then going out further into the weeds.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about proportional, subcontrary, and then we talked about this sum of difference tones that are also on the scale. That's what I keep showing you on the keyboard down here. Thing. And then we've already talked about this musical, artistic, aesthetic choice of seeds before convergence, right? That's your chance to put your stamp on it. And then Craig had this little note in his paper. He has a couple papers that I linked to here on the slides. It's interesting when you choose your seeds, you choose how converged you want to be, but you use the same keyboard pattern as a converged generator, right? So that just makes it intuitive and, you know, easy to play finger. That could be a strategy that you want. I want to exploit, you know, these MOS like with this keyboard pattern. Therefore, I will make seeds, you know, for a recurrence relation that will fill that out. So I put that as, and again, since I don't do 2D keyboards a lot or keyboard mappings, this is an area for more exploration. And then finally, So we did this. Oh, and then I linked to that demo in August. And then this is just showing you the actual numbers, just so you believe me. Here, like 3 + 5 = 8, right? So here's 8, 5, and 3. 8 equals, right? So
Right.
you have to, octave equivalence means all revoicing is equivalent, right? So it doesn't matter how I voice the chord if I have those
Right.
numbers.
That's
the
nice.
thing.
Yeah,
Right.
otherwise you get lost.
Right, and then 8 + 13, right, equals 21. That's in
21.
here. And
Wow.
5 + 8 = 18. So I'm just checking my math. I'm just showing you that these things I'm identifying on the keyboard actually really do. They really are Fibonacci triplets.
Yeah.
What's next? Whoops. Whoa. Stop it. Oh, and then this is proving that the reseated sequence, those keyboard illustrations of proportional triads, they also work because those are totally different numbers. I have a UI bug where I have a microtone that's actually a 3, but it's the UI is displaying as a 1, but it really is a 3.
Okay.
So that's what that's showing. But again, 18 + 29 = 47, blah 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 blah.
It's all there.
Yeah, so this is just proving the math, and then just finally, just to hit the point home, same recurrence relation, different seedings, radically different scales, right? Like these are different scales. What's in common? There's a 1 and a 3. A 1, I mean, 8 is a 1, 4 is a 1, 3, and then I have a little bug there. That 1 should be a 3. But the other tones are different, and it's because you seeded it differently, and that's your choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And next steps would be just to show you guys the secondary recurrence relations. This is just basically, I just want to go through every paper he wrote. I don't know, my gut feelings like 30, 40 papers, like sheets of individual scales, something like that. So I just want to implement them all
Right.
as presets. And I really want to get into meta, Palog, and Slendro because those are culturally important. There's families of recurrence relations that approximate like Indonesian and other types of cultural scales are from antiquity. And then he also did a bunch of mean tones that approximate 12 and dial it in just right. And some of them are really beautiful, like 0.415, 0.418, 0.420. Those are different generating fourths that are just freaking beautiful. They're so subtly different. Anything you play in 12 or 7 in those generators feels slightly different. Like there's just some kind of emotional gravity that's just different between those 3. And so I want to cover those as well.
Wow.
That's it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would love to hear those mean tones.
Yeah, I want to play them for. I mean, I can play them for you in as MOS, but what I really want to do is do them as recurrence relations and seed them differently. That would be really cool.
Yeah, you could have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's it.
That sounds good. I got to jump off, but Marcus, I can't salute you enough on this thing. This is remarkable. When do we get it?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was my question also.
Oh, so I have an announcement.